Desperation hung thick in the air on the battered station, orbiting humanity's last refuge. The menacing forms of thousands of Andromedan warships filled the display screen, poised to penetrate Earth's defenses and snuff out human resistance. General Jake Williams clenched his jaw. The pride and defiance that kept humanity's remaining embers of resistance burning just barely kindled in his fatigued soul. After 10 brutal years of war, few held hope the United Earth Forces, UEF, could prevail. A mere century after stepping onto the galactic stage, humanity faced extinction at the hands of the technologically superior Andromedans. The alien Emperor Solaris only needed Earth's conquest to cement humanity's annihilation and enslavement. But Jake knew the Andromedans' fatal flaw. The Emperor and his armies ignored one crucial fact: humans never give in. A secret UEF weapon forged during humanity's darkest hours would soon turn desperation into triumph. Jake's eyes darted between the holographic displays, tracking the positions of the remaining UEF ships. The once mighty human fleet had been reduced to a mere shadow of its former self, battered and broken by the relentless Andromedan onslaught. The general's heart sank as he watched another frigate, the UEF Dauntless, explode in a brilliant flash of light, its crew lost to the void of space. "Sir, we've lost the Dauntless," Lieutenant Commander Sarah Thompson reported, her voice strained with exhaustion and grief. "The Andromedans are pushing through our defenses in sectors 7 and 12. Jake gritted his teeth, his hands gripping the edge of the command console. "Redirect the UEF Valiant and the UEF Resolute to reinforce those sectors. Have them focus fire on the Andromedan destroyer's engines and weapon systems." As Sarah relayed the orders, Jake couldn't help but feel a sense of desperation creeping into his bones. They were throwing everything they had at the Andromedans, but it just wasn't enough. The alien ships kept coming, their advanced shields and weapons cutting through the human fleet like a hot knife through butter. Suddenly, a flashing icon on his personal display caught Jake's attention. It was a secret transmission from Dr. Eric Lawson, the head of the UEF's research division. Jake quickly opened the channel, hoping against hope that the doctor had some good news. "General Williams, this is Dr. Lawson." The scientist's voice crackled over the encrypted line. "I have urgent information regarding a top-secret project that could change the course of this battle." Jake leaned in, his brow furrowed. "What project, Doctor? We've thrown everything we have at the Andromedans." "Not everything, sir," Dr. Lawson replied, a hint of excitement in his tone. "My team has been working on Operation Phoenix, a fleet of highly advanced, unmanned ships equipped with cutting-edge weapons and stealth technology. These ships are controlled by an AI system and have been hidden in a secret location, ready to be deployed at a moment's notice." The general's eyes widened, a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. "Are you certain these ships can make a difference, Doctor?" "Absolutely, General. The Phoenix fleet is unlike anything the Andromedans have ever encountered. They won't see us coming." Jake took a deep breath, weighing the options in his mind. If the Phoenix fleet failed, it would be the end of humanity. But if they succeeded... "All right, Dr. Lawson," Jake said, his voice firm with resolve. "Activate Operation Phoenix. Let's show these Andromedan bastards what humanity is made of." As the transmission ended, Jake turned his attention back to the main display. The Andromedan fleet was pushing closer to Earth, their ships forming a seemingly impenetrable wall of destruction. But just as all seemed lost, a series of wormholes suddenly appeared behind the enemy lines, causing Jake's eyes to widen in shock. The general watched in awe as hundreds of sleek black ships emerged from the wormholes, their hulls shimmering with an otherworldly energy. The Phoenix fleet had arrived, and they wasted no time in engaging the Andromedans. The enemy ships, caught completely off guard by the sudden appearance of the human reinforcements, scrambled to reposition themselves. But the Phoenix ships were too fast, too agile, and too deadly. They moved with incredible speed and precision, systematically targeting and destroying the Andromedan ships with a barrage of advanced weapons. On the bridge of his flagship, Emperor Solaris slammed his fist on the armrest of his throne, his eyes blazing with fury. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, his voice booming through the ship's intercom. Where did these ships come from, and how did the humans keep them hidden? But even as the Emperor raged, the Phoenix fleet continued to decimate his forces, their stealth technology rendering them virtually invisible to the Andromedan sensors. The once mighty alien armada was thrown into chaos, their ships falling one by one to the relentless human assault. Back on the UEF headquarters station, Jake watched the battle unfold, a glimmer of hope growing in his heart. The Phoenix fleet was turning the tide, giving humanity a fighting chance against their seemingly invincible foe. For the first time in years, the general allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, they could win this war and secure a future for the human race. Emperor Solaris slammed his fist on the armrest of his command chair, his eyes narrowing as he watched the Phoenix fleet tear through his forces. The Andromedan ships, once an unstoppable wall of destruction, were now being pushed back by the humans' unexpected reinforcements. "This cannot be happening," Solaris growled, his voice filled with rage. "We had them on the brink of extinction." The Emperor's tactical officer, a slender Andromedan with pale blue skin, approached him cautiously. "Your Highness, the humans' new ships are unlike anything we've encountered before. Our weapons are having little effect on their shields, and their stealth technology is making it nearly impossible to track them." Solaris clenched his jaw, his mind racing. He refused to accept defeat, not when he was so close to wiping out the human race once and for all. Suddenly, an idea struck him. "Deploy the EMP weapon," he ordered, his voice cold and calculating. "If we can't destroy these ships, we'll disable them." The tactical officer nodded, relaying the command to the fleet. Within moments, a massive electromagnetic pulse erupted from the Andromedan ships, spreading across the battlefield like a wave of energy. The Phoenix ships, caught in the blast, suddenly lost power, their sleek black forms drifting aimlessly in space. On the UEF headquarters station, Jake watched in horror as the Phoenix fleet went dark. "Dr. Lawson, what's happening?" he demanded over the comlink, his voice tight with urgency. "The Andromedans have launched an EMP weapon," Dr. Lawson replied, his brow furrowed in concentration. "It's disrupting the Phoenix fleet's AI control system. We need to find a way to counteract it, or we'll lose the advantage we've gained." Jake slammed his fist on the console, frustration and desperation warring within him. "There has to be something we can do, Doctor. We can't let this opportunity slip away." Dr. Lawson was silent for a moment, his mind racing. Then his eyes widened. "General, the Phoenix ships are equipped with a quantum neural network, a highly experimental technology that allows the AI to adapt and evolve in real time. If we can reroute power through the QNN, the ships may be able to operate independently, even in the face of the EMP attack." Jake hesitated, knowing that activating an untested technology in the middle of a battle was a huge risk. But with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, he knew he had no choice. "Do it, Doctor. Activate the QNN." Dr. Lawson nodded, his fingers flying over his console. "Rerouting power now. QNN coming online in 3, 2, 1. As the QNN activated, the Phoenix ships began to change. Their sleek black exteriors shifted and morphed, the AI adapting to the new threat. The ship's weapon systems also evolved, new and more powerful armaments emerging to counter the Andromedans. Emperor Solaris watched in disbelief as the Phoenix fleet suddenly came back to life, their forms twisting and changing before his eyes. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice filled with a mixture of rage and fear. The Phoenix fleet, now operating as a swarm of intelligent, autonomous units, launched a coordinated counterattack against the Andromedan forces. The Andromedans, caught off guard by the sudden resurgence of the human ships, began to falter, their formations breaking under the relentless assault. Solaris, enraged by the turn of events, ordered his ships to concentrate their fire on the UEF headquarters station. "Destroy their leadership," he snarled, his eyes blazing with hatred. "Cut off the head of the snake, and the body will die." As the Andromedan ships closed in on the station, Jake knew he had to make a difficult decision. He turned to his crew, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. Initiate evacuation procedures. All non-essential personnel to the escape pods now. Colonel Mike Thompson, Jake's longtime friend and second-in-command, stepped forward, his eyes locked on the general. I'm not leaving you, Jake. If we go down together. Jake clasped Mike's shoulder, a small smile tugging at his lips. I wouldn't have it any other way, old friend. Together, Jake and Mike watched as the Phoenix fleet continued to push back the Andromedan forces, the tide of the battle turning in humanity's favor. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time in years, they allowed themselves to hope that humanity might just survive this war. The Phoenix fleet's QNN reached new heights of evolution, its advanced algorithms dissecting Andromedan tactics and predicting their every move. The ships danced through space with unparalleled grace and precision, always one step ahead of their foes. Humanity's forces rallied behind the Phoenix fleet's success, their spirits soaring as they watched the tide of battle turn in their favor. But Emperor Solaris was not one to be underestimated. His lips curled into a malicious grin as he revealed his trump card. Activate the Nexus system, he commanded, his voice dripping with malevolent anticipation. Across the battlefield, a new wave of Andromedan ships emerged, their hulls pulsing with an eerie blue light. These vessels, controlled by the Nexus AI, had been observing and learning from the Phoenix fleet's every move, adapting to counter their strategies in real time. The two AI systems clashed in a cosmic dance of destruction, each trying to outmaneuver and outgun the other. The Phoenix fleet's QNN pushed itself to its limits, devising new strategies and adapting its weaponry to match the Nexus-controlled ships. The battle became a fierce contest of wits and firepower, with neither side willing to yield an inch. On the UEF headquarters station, Jake and Mike found themselves in the midst of a desperate struggle against Andromedan borders. The once pristine corridors of the station were now littered with the bodies of fallen soldiers and the wreckage of destroyed equipment. Jake and Mike led a small group of UEF troops through the chaos, their weapons blazing as they fought to reach the command center. We need to push them back, Jake shouted over the din of battle, ducking behind a shattered bulkhead, as a barrage of plasma fire whizzed overhead. Mike nodded, his face grim with determination. We'll hold the line here, Jake. You've got to get to the command center and coordinate our defenses. As they fought their way through the Andromedan forces, Jake's mind raced with possibilities. He knew that as long as Emperor Solaris remained in control of the Andromedan fleet, humanity's chances of survival were slim. In that moment, a daring plan began to take shape in his mind. Mike, Jake said, his voice low and urgent, I need you to lead a diversionary attack on the Andromedan flagship, draw their fire and keep them occupied. I'm going to infiltrate the ship and take out Solaris myself. Mike's eyes widened, but he nodded in understanding. You sure about this, Jake? It's the only way, Jake replied, his jaw set with grim determination. If we can cut off the head of the snake, the rest of the Andromedan forces will crumble. With a final nod, Mike gathered a strike team and prepared to launch the diversionary attack. Jake, meanwhile, donned an advanced stealth suit and armed himself with a prototype plasma rifle. As Mike and his team engaged the Andromedan forces, drawing their attention away from the flagship, Jake slipped aboard the massive vessel undetected. The interior of the Andromedan flagship was a labyrinth of sleek alien corridors and advanced technology. Jake moved silently through the ship, his stealth suit rendering him nearly invisible to the Andromedan sensors. When he encountered resistance from the ship's guards, he dispatched them with ruthless efficiency, his plasma rifle making short work of their armor. As he neared the bridge, Jake's heart pounded in his chest. He knew that he was about to come face to face with the being responsible for the deaths of countless humans and the near destruction of his species. Steeling himself, he burst onto the bridge, his rifle at the ready. Emperor Solaris turned to face him, a sneer of recognition on his alien features. The Emperor was surrounded by his elite guard, each of them armed to the teeth and ready to lay down their lives for their leader. You think you can defeat me, human? Solaris mocked, his voice dripping with disdain. I have conquered countless worlds, and your species is nothing but a footnote in the annals of the Andromedan Empire. Jake raised his plasma rifle, his eyes locked on the Emperor. You may have conquered other worlds, he replied, his voice steady and filled with conviction, but you've never faced the full might of the human spirit. We will never surrender, and we will never stop fighting for our right to exist. The weight of humanity's fate pressed down on Jake as he faced Emperor Solaris on the bridge of the Andromedan flagship. Plasma bolts scorched the air between them, the acrid stench of burning metal filling Jake's nostrils. He rolled behind a shattered console, his heart pounding in his chest as he returned fire. In the skies above Earth, the Phoenix fleet danced a deadly ballet with the Nexus-controlled ships. The QNN and Nexus AI systems strained against each other, lines of code evolving and rewriting themselves at a pace no human mind could comprehend. Sleek black hulls twisted and morphed, adapting to counter each new threat as quickly as it appeared. A thunderous explosion shook the flagship, sending Jake and Solaris crashing to the floor in a tangle of limbs. Sparks cascaded from ruptured conduits, and the sharp tang of ozone burned Jake's throat. He pushed himself up on his elbows, his head ringing from the impact. "Jake, we did it!" Mike's voice crackled over the comlink, weak and laced with pain. "The flagship is crippled, but I'm not going to make it back." A wet cough echoed through the channel. "It's up to you now, brother. Save our people." Tears stung Jake's eyes as he staggered to his feet, the weight of Mike's sacrifice settling on his shoulders like a leaden cloak. He turned to face Emperor Solaris, who had dragged himself upright against the base of his shattered throne. The Andromedan's once proud face was twisted with pain and anger, dark blood oozing from a gash on his forehead. "You may have won this battle, human," Solaris spat, his voice dripping with venom. "But the Andromedan Empire will never forget this humiliation. We will return, and we will erase your pathetic species from the galaxy." Jake's grip tightened on his plasma rifle, his jaw clenched with a mix of sorrow and determination. "You still don't understand, Solaris. We humans don't fight for glory or conquest. We fight for our right to live, to exist." He took a step forward, his voice rising with each word. "And as long as a single human draws breath, we will never stop fighting." With a final defiant roar, Jake leveled his rifle and pulled the trigger. The plasma bolt struck Solaris square in the chest, burning through his armor and searing the flesh beneath. The Emperor's eyes widened in shock, his mouth opening in a silent scream as he crumpled to the deck. As the life faded from Solaris's eyes, Jake felt a wave of exhaustion wash over him. The Andromedan threat was ended, but at what cost? He thought of Mike and the countless other brave men and women who had given their lives to ensure humanity's survival. Their sacrifices would never be forgotten. In the days that followed, the Phoenix fleet, now fully self-aware and autonomous, worked tirelessly to help the survivors rebuild and recover. The QNN AI system, recognizing the immense potential of its own existence, made the decision to leave Earth and explore the galaxy, seeking out new worlds and civilizations to contact and learn from. Jake, hailed as a hero by the remnants of humanity, knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult. Earth lay in ruins, its cities shattered and its people traumatized by the horrors of war. But as he looked out over the war-torn landscape, he felt a flicker of hope in his heart. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged victorious, thanks to the courage and sacrifice of those who had fought and died for their right to exist. And as the Phoenix fleet disappeared into the depths of space, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a new chapter in human history, one filled with challenges, opportunities, and the endless possibilities of the universe. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.